Because of trauma, we will always choose familiarity over things that we are not familiar with. That's why you're finding growth becomes very difficult. Change becomes very difficult. That is because of trauma. We've hardwired our nervous system to prioritize familiarity as a form of safety. So you'd find someone, they'd rather choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So you self-sabotage. A lot of people self-sabotage because that is what they are used to. That is what they've prioritized as a form of safety. So if you're from a toxic environment, then that is what you will be comfortable with. Anytime you'll find someone who is not toxic, someone who is, let's say if you're from a survival mode type of environment, and then you meet someone who's from a love environment, you'll self-sabotage because you are not used to that love environment. So to you, it will seem like, like some type of play. It will seem like some type of, like maybe this person is planning a bigger scheme on you. You won't see it like genuinely these people love you. So trauma, for most of us, that's why you find it very difficult to move on from narcissistic traits. People who have narcissistic traits. That's why you'll find it very difficult for people to move on from abusive relationships. That's why you'll find it difficult for people to move on from things like, drug abuse and all that. Because that is what they've familiarized themselves with. And to them, that is safe. If you look back, ni ile yenye tunasemaga better safe than sorry. Bruh, that statement is traumatic. Better safe than sorry. It's because we've familiarized predictability. We've actually prioritized also predictability as a form of something that reduces danger. Once you predict, like if you can predict something ahead of you, then at least the dangers will be minimized. Most of us can't move on uncertainty. Then we kind of mask that into, I prefer planning. I prefer knowing what I'm getting myself into. Bro, the moment you know what you're getting yourself into, or the moment you focus on knowing what you're getting yourself into, it's because you are relying on predictability as a form of safety. Predictability will reduce the dangers ahead. So in short, you are living on the limitations of what you're familiar with, not what you're not familiar with. Because if you decide, hey, you know what, let me just flow, then you just flow with it naturally. If it is something that your nervous system won't be happy with, then you will retract. If it is something that your nervous system can't keep up with, then you will retract. Like, you move with intuition, you move with intention, rather than moving with reaction, moving with safety. I'm telling you, being safe is a form of trauma. That is a survival mode. Being safe is a form of trauma. Hata kitu yenye tunasemaga better the devil you know than the angel you know. That is a form of trauma. So for most of us, we can't move on. We can't move on from abusive relationships. We can't move on from this toxicity because for us, that is what we had familiarized ourselves with. That is what our environment offered us. So going forward, that is what we pick up. So when you're given something new, bro, growth becomes very difficult. Change becomes very difficult. Unapata mtu anakuja anakuambia this is who I am. What do you mean this is who you are? People change. People do change. As much as they say, oh, people don't change. People do change. What you might see today, tomorrow you might disagree with it. You understand? So if you stick there saying, hey, you know what, me, this is who I am, then you've already put a limitation for growth. You've already put a barrier for change. So my people, heal so that you can learn to choose different. So that you can't just, you can't just stick to what you had subjected your nervous system on. Because, your nervous system is going to react based on what you subject it on. So if you get yourself used to toxicity, that's what your nervous system will see as safety. Whether it's harming you or not, that is what your nervous system is always going to choose. So my people, heal so that you can learn to choose something different. Heal.